Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is B from Kongs or Us, and welcome to The Next Level. This is my weekly podcast show where we bring you next level things, projects, guests, community members that are absolutely next level. And man, I am so excited to talk to my guest today. I've been trying to contact him for the last half year or so, ever since I've seen him post many of his pictures in our beloved Facebook Arcade1Up groups and other places, on Instagram, his YouTube channel. I have been a fan of this gentleman that I'm about to introduce you to. His name is Wes from Makr Mania. Wes Fun Labs. This guy is next level. When you think about the definition of why I started the show almost a year ago, it's about the 1-year anniversary of when I started my show, and it really is people like him that inspire others to mod and do things that they didn't think they could do. And when I see somebody that's done something super original, something that is, trail breaking, it just makes me excited to really talk to some of these folks. So this is one of the most excited episodes that I've been having in a long time, because I've been last several weeks been working on mods that I've done recently. And, my projects are I feel okay. Like, people say I'm a great modder, whatnot. I'm just a really good tinkerer, and I know how to Google really well. And I can talk on YouTube and I can explain things simply. But when I think about how folks like Wes and Juan Pablo, by the way, who I used to call the best modder in the world, this guy might give him a running for being one of the best modders in the home arcade space. But that's my introduction on why I'm so excited today. Hello, chat, everybody that's here. Thank you all so much for joining in. Bill Wright's here, EPT Cyclone. Billy Wright's here. We got both the Wrights that are here. Slackers here. C-Mart the Entertainer. Chicken Joy. Oh, man, I love me some Jollibee. Chicken Joy. I love that. Bish Salad says, today was stressful. You're going to watch the stream and try to chill out. Thank you, Bish Salad, for being here. I hope you enjoy, because again, my guest is off the hook. I'm gonna spare no more introduction, because he's listening to me backstage, bring him up, but then hype him up. I don't know, man. Wes, are you hyped at all to finally be interviewed about your stuff?
Introduction. I'm I'm a bit embarrassed.
Oh no, it's such a pleasure. And we were talking backstage before the show, but it really is one of those exciting times where I messaged you, and I booked Wes like 2 days before the show started. And I was like, all right, I know he's posting more stuff on his off-road. Every time I see your next one, it just reminds me, like, I got to get him on the show. I got to get him on the show. So now you've added off-road to your collection. I'm going to go backwards in time, because I think people have seen your Daytona, but why off-road? Like, that's the one that people are like, whoa, I've never seen a 3/4 scale home version of that. So talk about off-road and why that was one of the cabs you wanted to jump on.
Yeah, I mean, that game, when I was young, it just meant a lot to me. Like, I don't know, there was something that gravitated me to it. I started playing on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color, and then I'd play it at the arcade. And I was just, I don't know, there was something really cute about it. Like, these little cars going around, and it's just, it was just so good. Like, every time I went to the arcade and I saw it, like when I was in Australia, like, it was like, oh man, it's so good. I don't know, there's something special about it. And, I'd heard some rumors that Arcade1Up were going to do it. And then I was like, oh, man, this is a good opportunity. I got to do it, because,
yeah.
it's also an interesting one because you're doing 3/4 scale. You're bringing the whole thing down, and then the steering wheels have to be sort of positioned correctly for 3 people, but the whole thing must be scaled down. So that's an interesting challenge,
Yeah, I mean, you have it behind you, but I threw up a picture that you've been posting kind of in your lab. I see you got some full-size arcades in your garage there. We'll talk a little bit about that. But
Yeah.
why 3/4 scale here? Is it based off of a full-size cab? That's this, like the shape of this is based off of a real off-road cab?
Yeah, well, I went from pictures online, but basically, I wanted to maintain the Arcade1Up width, the riser width, and then I just like widened the top part to match the riser. I did that with my Big Blue.
Yeah.
Anyways, I did that, and then I extended the top part a little bit. And then, the general sort of look, I wanted to sort of like make it matched to the original. And the actual steering wheel section, I used a lot of reference from the real arcade machine, and I was like, I got the graphics, I got everything, and I tried to design it as best as I could to match.
Yeah, it looks amazing. So I mean, from here, this was I almost like how far is it 100% complete now? Because when you were posting this, it still looked like it was a little bit in the works, but behind you, it looks like it's up and running. Like, is it pretty much done?
Yeah, I mean, I could quickly just show you.
Oh yeah, let's take this off and let's get it in close.
Yeah.
Look at this. Let's make Wes
tour.
all big. There it is.
Like these are
the pedals. We didn't see the pedals there. So yeah, talk
Yeah.
about the pedals and how you got that set up, because that's one of the things where it's an easy game to emulate, but you have so many options. So that looks gorgeous. Talk about the pedals.
So the pedals I got off Amazon, and they're this like basically a USB switch, and you could basically like once you press, it's like acts as a gas, and you can sort of in MAME you can actually trigger it just like a gas pedal. And basically what I did was I just printed like a wood cut, and then I have like a little, I don't know if you see it.
Okay, yeah.
So it's a little groove.
Into there.
It fits in. Yeah.
Those are USB pedals that like just plug into you. I'm assuming you're running a PC inside.
That's it. So I've got a PC inside, and then these are all sort of hooked up to spinners. So if I show you, it's like a spinner. It's a 3D printed steering wheel attached to a spinner.
Oh, nice. Which spinner did you go with? Did you use the GRS one? Any particular ones?
Oh, I just found one on Amazon. I can't remember. It might have been from the GRS, but I was a little bit conscious of price. So I think the spinner was like about $40, I think.
Okay.
And then
gets the job done, right? So yeah,
that's right.
But you designed those wheels yourself?
Yeah. So I got the original. I got reference of the model from the original, and I tried to replicate it as best as I could. Yeah. So and then I 3D printed the whole thing. So
that's amazing.
So, this one's just.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what's so cool. And then these are attached, so I can't take them off. But but this one I could attach if I wanted to. Yeah, that's pretty much. So, but it's all running. Like if I, you could see like.
There it is. Look, working perfectly. Like I said. How big is the monitor?
This is a 20-inch Dell.
Okay.
And it's what everyone uses for Arcade1Ups. Just to upgrade, because the width of the machine is a little bit wider. It just meant I had to put a little bit of a bigger bezel. So I did this with my CNC machine, and then you basically just get from Home Depot. You get like it's
That's
like
so badass. It's so cool. My goodness. All right, so talk about the deck area with the steering wheel mounts. Did you design that whole thing and use a CNC to print that? Because that's one of the harder things to think about, because no one's ever done. I don't think this is the first 3/4 scale off-road I've seen. So talk about the build of that portion of the cab.
Yeah, so it's really made up of like, a bottom section, which is basically a flat cut. And then there's a top part, which is a top cut. So this is wood, the bottom's wood, and then the three center parts here, or the three sort of bits here, they're wood as well. And then you put vinyl on it, and then there's 3D printed parts that basically hold it all together. So you can see this is a 3D printed part.
Got it.
And there's actually, like, you don't really see, but there's a lot of design that went into making sure this all sort of fitted snug. And I'm still like, there's still some improvements I can make, but I had to design it in CAD or in a 3D program because it gets quite intricate, because there's all these grooves and everything for it to sort of like fit into and fit snug, So it looks like simple, but there's quite a lot it's complicated.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine just the level of design. So it sounds like you use CAD to design it. Somebody's asking, is that MDF or plywood when you're using your CNC cuts?
Yeah, I use plywood because MDF is like, it gets super messy. Like with the CNC machine, it's just like this,
the sawdust, everything,
sawdust everywhere. And I think it's better quality too, the plywood.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you got the lip marquee there as well too. I mean, beautiful. So what about the coin door? Is the coin door just a standard coin door? And
so this is I got this from Etsy, but it's funny because I could have made this myself.
It's a 3D printed coin door. Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I was like, about some guys, some guys making a living, and from this, and I was just like, this is cool that people do this. So I was like, I'll buy it, and it saves me time, So
yeah, I mean, that's so cool.
Basically, actually, this so what I really need to do is I need to make it sort of a 3 push button, and when you press each button, it should enter the coin for that player.
I see. So that would be the next step.
Yeah, so there's all these little things, you're like, oh, I need to fix
this. Yeah. I mean, once you get to this level, though, I mean, you did it. So I mean, so now that you have the off-road cab, and I was actually going to ask you about your other cabs too. Do you have this set up as in multi-cade to play other racing games that use the same wheel setup, like Super Sprint, or is this mostly just off-road?
That's the next thing. So I want to get Super Sprint on here, which should be pretty straightforward. I mean, I wanted to do it for this. I just ran out of time.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But
once you have it, then there it is.
Yeah,
cool.
There's a lot of games that you could play with this, and that will be fun. That's a fun next step,
And was off-road, was it 100% scratch built, or did you actually start off with any other cab?
Oh, it was a Street Fighter. It was basically a Gen 1.
That was the off-road was a Gen 1 Street Fighter?
Yeah. So basically this is actually like, this is the like trick with this, is you basically I have to print the actual sort of outline that I want.
Okay.
And then I cut sort of the Gen 1. So you end up with this shape that's kind of like this. And then I put an extension on, and then I have to sort of like secure it from the inside, and then I sand it. Then I prime the whole thing, and then I put a new decal, and you wouldn't really know. Like, it just looks like,
I guess my big question is like, why not? If you had the CNC, is it because you already bought the Gen 1 and you just wanted to use it versus like just doing the side panel yourself?
So I have a limit. I have a limit with the CNC of how big I can go.
Oh, I see. Got it. Okay. Got it.
And I haven't quite figured out how to do the tiling. There's this tiling method. Anyways, but I also I'm like, oh, it's kind of a good story to say, okay, it started off as Arcade 1up. Very different.
Okay, I was about to say, am I true to form? The other two all the other cabs you have in your background obviously look like Arcade 1ups, but I didn't realize the off-road started as a Gen 1 cab, and Brad D, one of my other cohorts, is saying Gen 1 cabs can be made to do anything. I even saw Juan Pablo turn one of his MK cabs into like the shape of another cab by just cutting off the shark fin and doing a design. And this is like, you added another layer to that, and it's so simple. I feel like it could be done. It almost looks like potentially, and I hope Arcade1Up is watching at some level, that there's some inspiration from the community on, we want cabs that look like this, and this totally looks feasible, I think. And so from you being an Arcade1Up fan by purchasing those Gen 1 cabs, like what made you want to mod them into like your more ideal cabs? Like did you get them and were you not happy with it and you're just like, I can do this way better? Like what was the process for you starting, buying these cabs and then modding them into what you have behind you?
Yeah, it's a good question. I just like the 3/4 scale. I think it's really practical. It's like you think about, and there's nothing against, like, I love like full scale. Like I have full scale in my garage, but in this corner of this space here, I couldn't fit the full scale in this region. There's no way. And if I wanted to, like, reposition it, I can do it myself. Like if I want to just rechange this whole sort of setup, I could just do it. But the full scale is like, actually, it's interesting because I actually read the Daytona. I really wanted the full scale. I wanted a twin full scale, but it's really hard to find one, and it's hard to find something in good condition. And then I went like looking all over the US and be like, okay, I'd have to go to Indianapolis, and maybe there's one there that's for sale. So then I'm like, how would I get this back to California?
Yeah.
It's just like logistically, it's like eventually like a full size Daytona will be like a collector's item, and it will be really hard to find,
Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of people in the chat have been asking like, hey, I want to see the Daytona. So let's transition to talking about Daytona. Because, Twisted Gaming TV is here. He's saying like, how much did it cost first off to build your Daytona cabs? I think that's one of the curious things about that level of effort. And it sounds like you're budget conscious for some things. So I'm curious about what your cost is for building that cab.
Yeah, it's a good question. Like I'm lucky that I can 3D print a lot of the stuff. However, like the biggest cost is with the steering wheels, the Logitech steering wheel. Like they're really hard to find. They're getting like expensive. They're actually going up in value. So, but you could get the G29 model, but the G27 model that I have here, it just matches the look, and it's like the metal is really cool, like on the actual center part. But the Logitech is like probably one of the biggest costs. It's like could cost about $200. So each one is like 200, so 400, and then I don't know. It's when you add up all the cost, it ended up being for both cabinets, I think about $2,500. So it's
but still, it's still gorgeous from what they were. So what were the original cabs that these came from? These obviously are in the Arcade1Up shape. So these were donor cabs at some point. What did you sacrifice to make your Daytona cabs?
Yeah, so one of them was a Street Fighter, and one of them was I think it was a Centipede. I think it was a Centipede or a Gallagher. No, one of those, Gallagher or Centipede. Yeah. What are those?
One of the Gen 1s that, again, I guess you could probably play them on anything. So have you kept any of your Arcade1Up stock? Do you have other ones that are like in a donor bin somewhere to be made into something else? Or have they all been converted at this point?
They've all been converted. They've all done.
They've all died and been sacrificed to the greater good so that we can get Daytona. I have so many questions for Daytona, but first off, Twisted Gaming TV gave me a $5 super chat that says, "This is your best interview yet, Kong. Much love to this guy's passion." Appreciate that, Twisted Gaming. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And Wes, I don't know if you've ever watched my channel, but I have a funny wife that loves to kind of join in and do little fun things. And so for folks that super chat, I like to show off the little fun things and that she likes to do. So I'm going to give you my favorite, my Sentinel Smash.
All right. You spent how much on it?
$400. What? Why? What are you doing? Why would you do that? What the hell? Have you? Thanks again, Chris. So just a little distraction for everybody. But okay, let's get back to Daytona. These were donor cabs, and let's talk about the seats. I think that's the thing that stands out beyond just the look and the wheels and the fact that you had them linked. The seats, like like, let's talk about that. Somebody asked how you made them. I think somebody spilled the beans and said that you 3D printed them. But can you give me the process on how you came up with this design for those bucket seats, because they are freaking fantastic.
Yeah, so that's a good question. So I actually got an original seat. I started off with the original, and one of my friends in Vancouver, Canada, is like, you should scale it down to like match the scale of the cabinet. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a good point. And I was like, yeah, but that's going to be a lot of work. And I was like, oh, all right. Yeah, that's the right thing to do. So then I started, like, what I did was I used this technique called photogrammetry. So I basically take a whole bunch of photographs of the original seat, and then the computer sort of makes like a 3D model, replica of that seat. Yeah. And then I have that in the computer, the original seat and the back and everything. And then I had to remake, I used that as like a reference. And then I remade the seat. And I made some adjustments. I changed it because, you know, it's not just about 3/4 scale down seat. You know, it actually isn't 3/4. It's actually like about 85%.
Okay, so a little bit bigger, because I mean, yeah, making a 3/4 scale seat would just be a little bit funny at that point. So, but yeah, so it is modeled off of a chair then, but the actual parts itself then are really 3D printed. Everything, the back, the bottom.
Yeah, each seat took about maybe a week to 3D print. Two 3D printers a whole week, and it's all made up in sections because a 3D printer can't print that much, you know, that big. So and then I had to glue it, and it's quite a bit of work. But once I'd done one, then I had everything set up to do the other one, you know.
Let's check it out in action here. I mean, I have some old videos of it just gorgeously running, not only individually, but linked, right? So this is Sega Model 2. I'm assuming you're running PCs that are linked there. But how does it work? Is it pretty seamless playing it linked with, I've seen you've had several people in your house enjoying this setup.
It's fun.
How is it?
It works. I mean, sorry, what was that? Yeah.
Do I have the audio really
so you can
loud?
Yeah, it's great for parties. You know, this is the best. You get friends over and you just play against each other. It's like, you know, I mean, it brings back so many memories when it's linked. It's different, you know. That I think that's the special thing about this game. It was kind of made to be linked. Like whenever you see like a single player Daytona, you're like, oh, it's just not the same, you know.
It's not the same, absolutely. I mean, it's so much fun to see friends play, and exactly that's why you're doing these things, so that you can have a little bit of you know, dual action. So you have some demos of people in it. So those are some full-size folks. How's the comfortability of sitting in the cabs though? So I guess that's one of the design choices I have a question for, because you made this a few years ago, and you know, you're sticking your feet inside the cabs. For folks that are playing, I know that video is really short. Does anybody ever complain about it feeling too small? Do you feel like it's a good size for people to sit in comfortably?
I had some friends that are like big, like, you know, 250 pounds, maybe 300 pounds, and they're able to do it. I think the biggest challenge is like the, you know, when you got your feet in, it's not like you can't extend your feet out fully. It's they're just a little bit bent, and I think it's just a limitation of the size constraint of the Arcade1Up. You know, it's a challenge, because even for Arcade1Up to do this is like, you know, it's you can see with their outrun, it's like, you know, there's only so much room you got for your feet, and it's actually like, I think this is what makes it the hardest cabinet to do well, is because you've got different size of people. You've got kids, you've got huge, you know, fat people.
For lack of a better word, yeah, exactly.
I'm like about 5'11", so it's like stretching it too, you know. one of the things I could show you actually.
Yeah, let's do it. I want to let's get a close-up tour. None of this like picture stuff. We're seeing the real deal here. Again, this is for folks that are just joining. This is Wes from Makr Mania. I'm gonna just call it like I hate to say this to Juan Pablo, but one of the best mod. But I can't even do it. Juan Pablo is so near and dear to me too. One of the best modders, co-best modders of the year. There it is. I said it. Okay, go ahead.
No. I mean, it's all good. We all just like having fun. It's fun doing this stuff. But there's no best. Everyone's got their own strengths. And so with this is like, so I knew that kids are going to want to play this, and my approach, what I wanted to try is like, how could I adjust the actual position of it so I could push it in and out to a certain degree. So someone who's really tall would be about here, and a kid could go about here.
Nice.
So yeah,
so is it on wheels or something? Is that how it slides forward?
No, it's just on carpet. It's just
okay.
It's like I don't know. You can't really see, but it's just like another like level of wood that sort of is the grounding for
and then you just put LEDs surrounding it, so that the LED light up setup is genius. It just makes it look so next level with your LED mods on the bottom of that. But I see you can just slide it in and forward. Man, so and you made this, by the way. Some people are saying this might be the first time folks have seen. Like, how long ago did you build this? Because this was one of your first mods you did, no?
No, actually, so I did one originally, and it didn't have like a riser, so it was very like low, and it was just really difficult to get in. So this is the second version, and what I did was I created like a riser that the Gen 1 could sort of be lifted.
Yeah.
And it made it easier. And then I think I did this cabinet maybe about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
But you can see it's quite comfortable. I mean, I've got like a decent room here from the steering wheel,
Yeah.
And I've got all the buttons and everything. It just feels like, I think it's like, you could always do better. Like, you could always, it's hard to get it perfect. It's really like an interesting challenge to get everything sort of like comfort, the positioning, and how do you get all out of it? How do you get in by keeping the scale? That's really challenging. So of course I could do something better. I feel like this is like a work in progress. I could always
you could always upgrade it. And because the reason why I asked about because if it was one of your earlier mods that you did, you kept the actual shark fin design of the cab shape. But like, if you had to redo this, would you consider updating the back part of the cab a little bit more to make it look more like a racing cab? Just kind of curious, like, as an evolution, what would you do to improve this?
The new Arcade1Up, they've got this Ridge Racer cabinet. And I kind of like the way they've approached it. I would think that could be a good starting point to doing a Daytona. You use that because that has the styling.
Yeah.
That's
it's an arcade. It's a racing cab shape, right? That's what you look for when you see that. Yeah, for sure. That looks. That's a good start. I mean, at least the shell of it's going to be a little bit better. And one thing I've been seeing a lot of home versions of builds recently too, but like, even just where your feet go into where the pedals are, even just carving out a little section so it's easier to get your feet in, so you don't have to like stick your feet
that's a good idea.
Right, just a little section to way that hopefully it's still stable. But yeah, otherwise, like, that's the only thing I would have, like, if I saw it and I had to like say, hey, have you thought about doing that? And then that just might make it a little bit easier to slide in and out. But yeah, work in progress. You might be able to still do it. I'm sure you have the means and the tools, but you're like, I'm done. Okay, so last couple of questions about Daytona. Do you have other games linked up to play with it? Is it just set up right now to like run directly into Daytona, or do you have other games that are linked up into it? Is it a multi-cade racer?
Yeah, no, at the moment it's just Daytona, but the goal is to make it sort of like a multi-cade. So this, that's the thing, right? Like, when you finish something like this, you're kind of really exhausted. You're like, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
And then, then you have to sort of like set it up to do the multicade, and then that's a lot of work. Well, it's, you know, I just need to spend some time to do it. And then I was like, oh, it's good enough for now. But I do want to get like games like Sega Rally. I want to Daytona 2. I want to get Outrun. I want to get all those, because that's the real ultimate goal. Because then that's one of the main points, is that then you can play any racing game. You know,
that's what people are looking for sure. That's what I did with my Outrun mod, right? I wanted to play other games besides Outrun, so I did the multi-K route. I didn't go crazy with the. I mean, I told Wes this before I got on the show. When people saw my Outrun mod that I did with my PC, and I dropped the real arcade seat into the bench, people were like, that was amazing. But I'm really like a lazy modder. I like stuff to be almost done, and I just add things to make it look a little bit better. I'm not doing custom seats out of 3D printed, but I can do the PC mod. So I have my multi-K set up, and it was one of my goals, because one of my very first mods was modding the Star Wars yoke to do racing games as well.
Oh yeah,
that's a really fun. It's a fun wheel to play with. And I had my Outrun. I was like, what if I linked my Star Wars cab and my Outrun cab to at least just play Daytona or other things too? So that way I can have two separate cabs that aren't like twin cabs, but you can still link them up. So that's a goal of mine at some point in the future that I plan to do. But yeah, I was curious to know if you were doing anything else. But the link system is great. I mean, obviously it's simple for anybody that's coming in playing it. You turn it on and it works. That's ideal. But once you've already invested that much, it's like, oh, can you go to the next level, and can you play another thing or so? So
yeah,
that's exciting. I'm happy to. I know that you probably can already do this on your own and everything like that. But yeah, there's definitely a good number of games that I think are also linkable through Model 3. Some of the other games, like the Model 2 library, is also really good for tons of other racing games. So if you already did it for Daytona, even if you just got the rest of the Model 2 lineup, that would be freaking awesome. So think about it. Cool. Be cool. And the G27s are force feedback, the wheels themselves?
Yeah. Force feedback. And I think that's you just get that for free. And then one of the things I added recently, like I think I've sort of designated I'm not using the clutch anymore. So I 3D printed like a cover for that was like one of my lazy mods, you could say.
I see. So it's blacked out essentially.
Yeah, it's pretty much, it's like a footrest now. So you just put your foot and then.
Oh, got it. Cool.
Some kids get on and they're like, what do I do with this pedal? And I'm like, no, you don't use it. So, but you know, I think like it's cool, just like, you know, to just everything's linked and, you know.
Yeah, simplicity. So it is two separate PCs though, right? That are
two separate.
Yeah.
Some people they can do it with one PC, but you know, I just for performance, I was like, oh, why not just do it too?
Yeah, and those are 20-inch Dells as well. In those
20-inch Dells.
Yes, the people Twisted Gaming saying this is the Arcade Ultra Pro series coming in 2025. Wes will soon be working for Arcade1Up and designing your Daytona USA cab, coming very soon to you at a retailer near you. In fact, if you didn't know, I asked Wes before this, and where does he live? He is neighbors with a particular executive from the Arcade1Up space, like in literally the same city. So who knows? But Wes, Arcade1Up, obviously you've been a fan. What's the next project? I'm going to talk about Big Blue, but we have questions in here about what do you have plans for in terms of getting any more Arcade1Ups and modding them, or are you at the stage where you're kind of done? What's the next project for Makr Mania?
Well, like one of them is just to sort of make the little iterations, like, you know, the multicade and things like that, like the lazy mods. That I think there's like a lot of little details I still need to do. The second thing is like, there's a lot of people reaching out that, you know, they want help. They want this super off-road, you know? You know, so like, it's possible I could replicate this and then people could buy it if they wanted it, you know? So there's a lot
in the chat if you would buy a super off-road from Makr Mania somehow. And just watch the chat blow up right now. What would you do? So is that something you're thinking about offering, like some sort of like a conversion kit, or like what would you do to offer people to make their own?
So yeah, I think, to be honest, like, so I have little kits for the Daytona. Like I've got quite a few people that I've provided like this cover for. I can show you. This is one that I've done for someone, and basically it comes like this, and someone could if they've got a Logitech steering wheel, they could use this for theirs.
Yeah.
And if I could show you the actual the gear stick is like I basically had to rip out the Logitech, and I made my own 3D printed part, and then you put it inside this, and I've been giving that to people just so they could do their own thing.
Cool.
I think there's like little things like that. It's like I've already got the parts, and I just need to print it. And then some people don't have a 3D printer, and then like the super off-road thing is like I think that is one that's like possible to give is like offer for people, like if they really wanted it. Like I don't really know like if people are interested, but that is a lot more feasible, because it's basically spinners, which are easy to get.
Yep. And buy your own spinners and kind of put it in your mold and your parts, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and then they could attach it to a Gen 1 cabinet, and then they could redo the marquee with this graphic, and then they've kind of got something that's like similar. I don't know. Yeah, but in general, it's just more like helping people, because I think that would be, I think it's a good community out there, and people, they all have their own sort of dreams and sort of making it happen.
Do you have any future plans to buy any other of the upcoming Arcade1Up lineups? Does anything else pique your interest of what you saw coming out soon?
I'm not sure. Like the Killer Instinct is like it is really cool. Like I think the Pro model is like really interesting. I'd be keen once it comes out just to see videos of it, just to see like how it's made, and maybe there could be some opportunities to mod that. I have like some like crazy ideas. Like I'm like, I'd love to do like a super hang on. Like.
You're gonna make a like a steering wheel with the hang on thing,
like a full motorbike that you could like go.
Now you're talking, man. My dream actually is to make a I can't think of the name. It uses a yoke and a stun runner. I'm crazy about stun runner, using a yoke and building like the shape of that cab, and like just having like another yoke cab. I can play it on anything, but hang on would be really fun to do. That'd be awesome. Cool.
I don't know if it's possible, but that'd be funny. That'd be funny, like, because it's so different. It's like, man.
The stand-up version has like a really unique shape too, and like I think it would look really beautiful in 3/4 scale. Like that's one of those things where it's a skinny base, and then it kind of like jets out into the monitor, and then it has the steering, the controller for Sega hang-on. So that would be really awesome if Arcade1Up ever did something like that. But if they don't make it, I'm sure you can make something like that. But talking to Pro Series, go ahead.
Yeah. Like I'm hopeful that Arcade1Up release like a Daytona or something like it, because the even though I've got like it linked and all that, it's quite like one of the problems is to go and set it up. Like I have to turn it on, I have to go log into Windows, and I have to sort of like load the emulator, and then I have to like, I don't know, it's just quite a few steps. And then ideally what you want, turn it on, play it. I think that's actually kind of worth it, almost getting that, and then it's already linked. Like if they can make that easy, I'm like, that's worth getting, and so I hope that
linkable cabs would be a dream for many people. That again, it's hard to configure some of that stuff. I know running. I've done tons of PC mods, and I know it wasn't easy even just to do the linking portion of it. But the fact that you have to turn on both machines and do the linking and make sure it works. I usually have a front end like Launchbox kind of just like boot up automatically, and then I have my multi-kit I can select from. But if I had like a singular game, I'm wondering if there's a way to like make it easier to boot up into each one of those. Do you have to manually link them each time you start up the cabs, or does it automatically sync based on your.
It does automatically sync. So basically, one is like a master and one is a slave, and then it basically sort of like finds each other and then go boom.
Yeah, and then it links up. I have to do it. I'm gonna do it soon. You're gonna inspire me to actually finish linking my cabs, because people ask me all the time, because they're like, "Hey B, can you mod my Star Wars? And what if I send you an Outrun? Can you link it, or can I send you 2 Star Wars and can you link them?" And I'm like, I know it's possible, but like I just haven't dug into it. And Google's your best friend. That's how I learned how to do most of my stuff. But I want to transition to kind of yes. I'm gonna ask you. I'm gonna bug you now. So sorry, you're just gonna hear from me forever from now on. But I want to talk about this because you made your own Pro Series Big Blue. Like, and by Pro Series, you modded it and put a freaking CRT inside of an Arcade1Up Big Blue. So I mean, talk about this. Why did you want to go this route of buying an Arcade1Up Big Blue and then putting a real CRT monitor in it and making it absolutely Pro Series? When I saw this recently, I was just blown away. So talk about this mod and why you went this route.
Yeah, it's interesting because I started off, I had like a Street Fighter that was like modded, replacement buttons, and I had the Dell monitor, and it was a standard Gen 1. And I had all my games hooked up, and I was like, I had the scanline filter on it, and then I would go to the garage and I'd play my full size cabinet, and I was like, something's missing here. Like the feel of this is different. Like I was just like, I want that feel. And it really comes down to the CRT. Like the CRT, it just makes some of these retro games like Street Fighter, just like, it brings back the memories. It's just like, oh my God, like it feels different, and that's kind of like what got me in. And I saw some YouTube videos of like some people who'd done 14-inch and 15-inch monitors, and they'd put it in like CRTs into an Arcade1Up, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. And then it got me kind of thinking. And then one of the biggest problems with the Gen 1 is like the width of the depth isn't much.
Right.
With the Big Blue, the depth, it's even
smaller.
Yeah, it's a bit more. So so then it was like, okay, well, what about, what are the types of CRTs that are out there? And I found this slim fit Samsung that was like 12-inch depth instead of 19-inch.
Okay.
And that meant that it just would fit into the cabinet a lot better. So
all right, we're getting close. We're doing the tour. There it is. Okay.
Yeah. So you see, like it just sticks out just a little bit. I haven't actually put a backing on it yet, but
I see. It sticks out a little bit, but that's okay. That's okay. It still looks great.
Yeah. So really, like I think I actually got room. It could hang out more. So like some people could do it with like a bigger. I just wanted like it to sort of like not even be noticeable,
Yeah, you couldn't even tell. Yeah, absolutely. It looks gorgeous. I mean, so I leave the back off on several of my cabs because I always feel like I'm modding them anyway. So from a modder to a modder, I get it. Leave the back off. You're gonna get in there anyways, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Like I'm like, I noticed some people they spend a lot of time on the insides, and they make them, really like the inside is as good as the outside. But with mine, the inside isn't good. I'm like,
spaghetti in there.
No one even knows.
Oh no, Wes! My vision of you has now. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like a wiring nut. I like tie everything down, but that's just because like I go crazy with my wiring stuff. But that's okay. It's beautiful on the outside. That's what matters. We're shallow gamers. We like the way it looks.
No one knows what's inside. It's like they'll always wonder.
Yeah, someone is asking, so did you have to reinforce it? Is the CRT really heavy to like place it in there? Like, did you build a mount for it?
So there's a mount inside, and there's a lot of inner structure to make it sort of really stable. I actually reached out to one, our friend, the fellow modeler, and he actually had like a system which to do this, it has like an inner structure. So it's kind of like putting a box inside, and then it hugs the box.
Yeah. I saw that when you did that, the seamless riser, and I definitely saw Juan's version of that. So it's cool that you collabed and used that idea. It looks gorgeous. And the front part, Is that just another piece that just sits on the front?
Yeah. So
that you printed or CNC cut?
This is like a like a quarter. I mean, like a I don't know, quarter inch MDF here, and then this is this front part is plywood, and it basically attaches to the support beams inside. So it's hard to sort of like say, but really like the this was custom. This little extension's custom, and it goes the full way.
Yeah.
And then this is custom, and I had to make my own top panel because it's got like a little bit of a
extended the lip. Yep.
Extended the lip. So
yeah,
it's like I printed all the decals and everything with my plotter. I have a little printer, so then that actually saves a lot of money as well. I just print it all myself,
Yeah.
And
it's gorgeous, my friend. I mean, just looking at that with the light up buttons. So a couple questions. Did you have to decase the TV, or is it like the monitor to CRT, or?
Oh yeah. So the to get it to fit, I had to actually cut the sides off of the CRT. So the casing I had to cut, but I kept the majority of it. I just had to cut the sides off, and then and then I put some like a little bit of covering, like I just found some like a little bit of like plastic just to cover, just so that it wasn't like any holes. But in general, like I just cut it and then put it in, and that's it. Yeah.
Gorgeous, my friend. So I do want to mention, because I was asking about it. So I asked you right before the stream, is it running the stock PCB? But you said you had some issues. So unfortunately, at the moment, it's not running the actual arcade one. So you can't put your quarters on the glass on a CRT. But is that the plan still, to actually get it working with the stock PCB?
Yeah, that's one of the lazy mods that I'll do. Is like I'll put the A1up PCB, and I'm the only thing I'm a little bit sort of curious about is the converter that converts from the Arcade1Up PCB to the CRT. I'm hearing there's some delay, so I'm a little bit. I'm like, I'll try it and I'll see, But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that plays out,
Yeah, I'm curious to see how
you help me out with a replacement PCB.
Yeah, we could definitely do that and put I know you've already modded and probably not put in your warranty, but I'm sure they have replacement PCBs. So put in a ticket. It never hurts. Or I know lots of people are modding Big Blues, but yeah, I want to see you put your quarters on the glass. I want to see you on a Kuma Rev stream. And if you already have a modded Big Blue, it's probably one of the most gorgeous modded Big Blues that I've ever seen. Definitely, if they were going to come out with a Pro Series, that front lip section just like really completes the look. And the CRT is just another gorgeous touch to it. So kudos to you, man, for completing that. It looks absolutely gorgeous. Any last things you want to mention about this mod before kind of we wrap up? And I want to share some of your socials and talk a little bit about where people can get in touch with you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not much really. Like I think I hope this inspires some people, like, because there's a lot of debate is like, oh, don't put a CRT or it's dangerous. But I think if you put a standard TV, it's possible. It's like, I showed I've done it. So it's just about, I think the challenge now is finding the appropriate CRT, like that's the challenge, because this slim fit CRT is like, this one is like, it's almost impossible to find. I can't even, I don't even know where you can get them. Like I got lucky on eBay and I found it, but there is like other 19-inch CRTs that it could work. I think if anyone can find it, I think it'd be great to share, so then everyone can I
can see them. Yeah, I'm hoping so. How about the marquee? Is it not lit up right now? Do you just not have it plugged in?
I just have to plug it in. Yeah.
Okay. But it still works. I'm sure it does. Just small little details, but otherwise the little details, the little things. But I have a $5 super chat from Makr that says, WTF, this guy made me lock New away in the bathroom because of his accent. It's like a worm on a hook to a fish. She can't help but watch this guy, Wes. Akuma is amazing. He says you have the best Australian accent, and he's a natural panty dropper. So, my goodness. Didn't know you were an Aussie, but you have fans, my friend. Look at that.
Yeah. It's a funny way to explain it, but yeah, it's all good.
All right, so the last thing I want to share is just how to find you on socials and things. So if you want to check out Wes on his Instagram, Makr Mania, I'm gonna make this big and share this one more time at just the stream. So this is Makr. Is that how you say it, Makr Mania? Where did you come up with this name? I'm kind of really curious. Like, where did Makr Mania come from?
Well, basically, I was like, I just love to make things. So and like I don't know, I had like this Wes Mania, but I was like, no, I don't want to put my name in it. So I was like, just put Makr Mania, and then you have
a RoboSend Prime, woohoo! I got my RoboSend Prime back here somewhere too. Oh, good stuff. Oh, nice. So much fun.
Yeah,
I love my RoboSend Prime. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so cool that it does a pose and stuff. It's like, oh, so cool.
Yeah. It's so much fun. There's been so many people that have been programming new things for it too, like just how you can expand into it. There's a group that's been programming new dances and things too, which is pretty cool.
Oh my god, that's cool.
All right, but check it out. So this is the best place to find him. Definitely responsive. You can see more behind the scenes details on the mod process. This is the wooden panels he was talking about that were like, the build process. It's just really, really cool insight into the lab. I mean, it really is. When I see a modder at work, it's I'm sure there's parts of when you're modding, like you come across something, you're like, oh, this isn't how I thought it would work, and you have to resolution it. Like, what was one of the biggest challenges you've had with any of your mods that you found a creative solution for?
Yeah, it's a good. I mean, every one is like, it's a bit of a struggle. I would say the base for the Daytona that was tough because
were the seats.
Yeah, for the seats, because it needs to be the right height. It needs to have LEDs under it. It needs to sort of like be movable. It needs to fit in and out. So, so like, I think that's the thing for a lot of people is they see the end product, but they don't see a lot of the failures. And in terms of the 3D prints, like the steering wheels on the Super Off Road, I maybe did 12 of them. and like that's like about a week's worth of printing just down the drain, and you spend a lot of money on wasted parts and stuff. So you can see, like, I got from China, I got this like Outrun full size, so that's like another project down the track. I was like, I wanted to convert that, so but it's interesting to see the scale difference of like
full size versus the seats that you made. I mean, even at 35%, like they look great and they're pretty sturdy. Like, do you ever feel, since they're 3D printed, that somebody might break them by leaning back too hard? Do you feel pretty confident in them?
Yeah, I know it's a really good. A lot of people think that. I mean, I haven't had any problem. I had my friend who's like more than 250 pounds, and he sat on it, and it was fine. I was like,
I just love seeing the behind the scenes build process. This is just like modding gold to see behind the scenes of all this stuff, and I love that you're documenting it and putting it on here. Super cool, super cool. But then you said that people love reaching out to you to ask questions. So is that the best way to reach out to you, through Instagram, if people want to reach out and say, can you do this, or do you have any questions?
Yeah, for sure. I have like quite a few friends that just like, support me and just like, oh, this is cool. And, I've got this idea. I want to get 2 big blues and make a scud race or something. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. But I think in general, like a lot of people have like bought some of my kits and stuff. I think it's just, once you do it, it's just a lot of work. So I think that's just sort of, I think that's what stops a lot of people. They're like, they start something and then they're like, oh, I don't have time. I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's such a time sap, and you got to have really like a lot of motivation, and you got to finish it. Like, that's tough because you get like 75% there, and then you're like, all right. And it doesn't, sometimes it's not fun the whole way,
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I can definitely relate with that. I have several like unfinished projects that like I just need to finish and sit down and just map out this final set of controls so that it can turn on and work properly or wire it this way. Or I've had this stupid Gen 1 Tron cab behind me that I've had sitting here forever. Once I got the real Tron, I was like, why the hell do I want to finish this dumb Gen 1 version that I have here? I need to get rid of it. But I'm like, who's gonna buy an unfinished cab? And I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe John D will get it.
It won't break up though because I'm gonna put GRS controls in it. But yeah, definitely check out Instagram with Makr Mania. He also has a YouTube channel, by the way, so posting some videos here, so some produced content here. Definitely give this guy a sub if you want to see more of this content. I know IG is definitely easier, but I love your produced videos. That's when I saw your Big Blue and people were sharing your video and I was like, oh, he did something more. Like, that's just really cool for this community that loves YouTube and loves watching fun stuff. Please sub to this guy. Check him out on IG. But Wes, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I am sure it might not be the last time I talk to you. Can't wait to see what you have. I want to do a mod off competition with you and Juan Pablo. Who would win if you guys had to compete, making the same cab?
Yeah,
and
who would win? That'd be interesting. Yeah, that would be fun. I don't know if he's got time to do that. I don't know if I've got time either.
I know he's super busy. I'm gonna challenge both of you to make a better Sega Hang On, and then and then I'll get Bobby Vu to make one too, and we'll see how it goes. And then pro Mod Wars series, getting the best of the best to do something. But absolutely a blast. Do you have anything else you want to mention or promote for anything that you're working on?
No, I think I'm really thankful that you set this up. If anyone's got any questions, just reach out to me on my Instagram at like Happy Modding.
Yes,
and thanks everyone.
Yes, thank you so much for joining, Wes. It's been a pleasure. Everybody's saying just sub to Makr Mania on YouTube. Please hit that like button on his videos. Let's get him up there because I think it's fun to make content. I know it's hard making produce content, but either way, however you share your passion and your hobby, my friend, we're just happy that we're here along for the ride. So thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Cheers.